recorded. So, welcome to the last lecture for plant diversity. Do not miss me. It's okay, you can miss me a little bit. So, we'll talk about the last group of tracheophyte, which includes seed plants and the overview of how plants evolved for the past 1.8 billion years. So, let's review all the plant groups that we have so far. So we have all photosynthetic organisms, right? If they don't have embryo, they are algae. You have embryo, they are kingdom Plantae, and if they have no vascular tissue, then they are bryophyte. If they have vascular tissue, they are tracheophyte, and within tracheophyte, we divide them into two further groups. The one without seed and the one with seed, right? So this group here, I use the old term spermopsida, is essentially mean seed plants. Right, the seed plants, and let me show you everything. Oops, sorry. Oh, come on. There's a little delay between me and my iPad here. Why does it do this? Sorry, guys. Okay. Interesting. So, the seed plant here, right? The one without seed we learned about last week, right? The one with microphyll, just one single vein. Again, microphyll and megaphyll, not microspore and megaspore. And megaphyll is the one with branch vein. There's three more groups here. This group is called monilophyte. And in the seed plant, we have group with flowers and without flower. We call them gymnosperm and angiosperm. We'll talk about them in more detail today. So today, we're going to focus on seed plants and we're going to talk about gymnosperm and angiosperm. So who are they? So now, remember, right, we have, let's use different color here. We have egg and sperm. Egg and sperm, right? What process of fusion between egg and sperm? Fertilization. This gives you zygote, right? This will give you zygote. And then the zygote would grow up into multicellular stuff that we call embryo. So embryo can now be enclosed in a better structure to protect the embryo. This structure to protect the embryo, this is called seed. Right, so now we have the seed to protect the embryo. So they have two ways of the plant producing the seed. The first one, no fruit, no flower, meaning what? Meaning that on the branch, you just have this embryo on it, and there's a seed to protect them, but that's it. Just a seed. Just seed standing by itself. This group we call gymnosperm. Gymno mean naked. Sperm doesn't mean sperm in this case, it means seed. This is a group of naked seed. So the seed just hanging out on the branch, no protection, just a seed. The embryo protected by the seed, but the seed is standing by itself. So no flower, no fruit. The other groups here, they are similar, but on the branch here, right, they have embryo, and embryo have the seed to protect them, but they also have another layer to protect the seed itself. This layer is the fruit. So think of all the fruit you've been eating, like durian and apples and everything, like things that around the seed. This further protect the seed, or like put the seed inside. And that fruit, the fruit part, come from a part of flowers that we call ovary. Then ovary have, and the other parts of flowers as well. So the fact that you have flowers, the flowers have ovary, and ovary produce fruit. This fruit help support, help contain the seed inside. So the fact that this seed is no longer naked, right? We give this a new name. We still use the word sperm, right? Because sperm means seed, but now it has a cup to contain the seed. Now we call angiosperm. So the word angio means cup, sperm means seed. Not putting the sperm in the cup, that's totally different. So this is like not naked seed, it's enclosed seed. So the seed now enclosing in something we call this angiosperm. So naked seed, gymnosperm, and enclosed seed, angiosperm. And all the angiosperm are classified into the division. So in the body of the box, it's a division name. So all the angiosperm is classified within Magnoliophyta. So it's in this division, right? So if you see the ending of phyta, it's a division name, phyta. So all the angiosperm are the one with flowers, are all classified in division Magnoliophyta. So most of the plant you're looking right now outside here, I think practically everything that you can see, the big trees here, are all angiosperm. They are the one with flowers. So if you see plant with flowers, they are angiosperm. Okay? And in the lecture today, we're going to focus a bit more on gymnosperm because it's a bit harder to find around the city, but you see them. So gymnosperm have 4 groups, have 4 divisions you should know about, right? So the first one, I'm going to zoom in right about here. Oops. The first one, they have big expanding leaf just like angiosperm, but no flower. No flower, just a leaf. They are big. If you walk past them, it look like normal angiosperm except for the flower. They don't have any flowers, right? So this is Gnetophyta. But if they have the fan-shaped leaf, look like this, with dichotomous vein, the vein is branching like this, it's Ginkgophyta. If it look like a palm, really stiff leaf, very spiky, this is Saccharidophyta. And finally, if you have leaf in bundle, like this, a needle leaf, think of the pine tree, or your pine tree or your Christmas tree in the group called Pinophyta. So there's 4 phyta that are gymnosperm, Gnetophyte, the one with expanding leaf, Ginkgophyte, fan-shaped dichotomous vein, and Saccharidophyte, stiff palm-like leaf, and Pinophyte, needles like a pine, like pine trees. So these are 4 major groups of gymnosperm. There are a few others that I have not mentioned. It's a bit weirder, but we won't worry about them too much. All right, so this is an overview of all the seed plants, right? We have gymnosperm and angiosperm, the seed with or without the fruit, and the one that without the fruit have 4 more groups: Geniotophyte, Gingophyta, Saccharophyta, and Pinophyta, based on the leaf shape. It's a lot, I know, but we're gonna go through each of them together slowly. All right, let's look at each of them. So the seed plant, I said, they are all of them. The plant you see are sporophyte, right? They are through vascular system, through root, through rib, through stem, through everything, because they have vascular system in everything. And this megaphyll, and the key word here is that they have the seed to protect the young sporophyte, right? So they have this little embryo inside, and they have the seed to protect them. That's a key word, right? And the one with just the seed to protect the young embryo is called gymnosperm, and the one that have seed and also the fruit to protect the seed is called angiosperm. So there's 5 divisions in total: Geniotophyta, Saccharophyta, Gingophyta, Pinophyta, and Magnoliophyta. Okay, we're gonna walk through each of them together. But I forget to mention, all of these seed plants, they are all heterosporous. Yes. All of them produce 2 types of spores: the megaspore and microspore. Okay, all of them produce 2 types of spores, heterosporous. So from what we do this morning, it changed a little bit, right? The sporophyte now produce 2 types of sporangium. The microsporangium with a bunch of microspore, and this microsporangium will give rise to the microspore, the mini one. This mini one will grow up into the male gametophyte, producing sperm in the end. Whereas the other one, megasporangium, produce big spore. They produce megaspore, and megaspore grow up into the female gametophyte, produce achigonium. I should draw that as well. And they produce egg. Antheridium look a bit more stupid. Very normal. So now they have separate plants, one producing megasporangium, one producing microsporangium. And microsporangium produce microspore, megasporangium produce megaspore. Megaspore grow into the female gametophyte, microspore grow into male gametophyte. Okay? The previous one we learned, like the single, like the fern this morning, the spore can germinate into protellus, and they can produce both male and female on the same plant. This time, separate plants. Okay? So, and the seed is right there. This is where the seed happened. So let's talk about gymnosperm, right? Gymnosperm, again, the word gymno means naked. So nothing to protect the seed, naked seed. But they have true vascular tissue, but it's mostly tracheate. So tracheate is the water tube, right? It's water tube in the plant, but it is small one. It look kind of like this. We'll have picture in the following page. It's very small, with the hole to transport water. So most of these are tracheate, and the fact that tracheate are small, they make the wood of this group soft, because they make up a really small thing, so you can bend them really easily. So it's really soft. And this one have naked seed, no fruit, just a seed, and they have single fertilization only between egg and sperm. The other type of fertilization, we'll talk about them a bit later. So just between egg and sperm, that's it, done. And this thing have short pollen tubes. And we'll talk about pollen tube a bit later, but they all do the same thing. So the pollen can get to the egg very quickly, and we'll have to look at the life cycle a bit later. It's a bit more complicated, but we can do this. Right, so this is the overall characters of gymnosperm. But if you don't remember anything, just remember this. They naked seed, no fruit. Okay. So let's look at the first group here. The first group is called Gnetophyta. This group is a little bit weird because they have both vessel and trachea. So this is the vessel, the big one, and the trachea is a small one. So this one have both. The rest of the group have mostly trachea except for this group, and have big giant leaf like this. They look like your vascular plants. Have separate male and female plants. So this is the Gnetophyte, and you're like, I never seen Gnetophyte before, and I think a lot of people have. So I try to include as many languages as I can find. I don't know Chinese I don't know Chinese at all actually. So I got it from internet. So this is called Gnetum. In Thai people we call it Mamui or Lian. And it's like the one you put in the stir fry with the eggs. It tastes really good. And this, like, oh, look like a flower. This is not the flower, actually. These are the strobilus. Remember the word strobilus? So this is basically a bunch of, a stack of sporophyll. And the strobilus in this group is a bit bigger, so they call them cone. It's the same thing, right? The strobilus and the cone. So not the flower, this is strobilus and the cone. And I think in Indonesia it's called the melinjo, right? Maybe. You seen this before? No? No? All right. If you have not seen this, you've probably seen it in this picture. So in Thailand we stir fry them, or if you go to Indonesia, no? No? Oh, okay. Last one. Okay. Sorry. So yeah, that little thing that shoot up is not a flower. It's a strobilus or a cone. All right. And if you go to southern Thailand, I think if you go from Bangkok and you go to the small part, this thing grow on the mountain heavily, and people go collect the young leaves. And the young leaf is really starchy, and you put them stir fry, a little bit of dry shrimps and eggs and fish sauce. So good, right? So this is the thing that we eat. In Indonesia, they put the seed and they grind them up, and the starch is called emping melinjo. It tastes like potato chips. It tastes like just regular potato chips, but it's very local, right? So this group have only 1 or 2 genera, not very many. So very small group, very weird. And that's Gnetophyta. And so that one, if you don't see them very often, that's okay. I only see them around here as a dish. You can go order them around here. But this one you see a lot more often. This division Cycadophyta. The common name here is cycad. The common name is cycad. Or some people call them sagu palm. It's not a palm. It looks kind of like a palm, but if you touch the leaf, you like the palm outside, touch the leaf is kind of soft. But this guy, you touch the leaf, it's like spiky, prickly. So we call them cycad or sagu palm. They only have trachea and have separate male and female as well. So for Thai people, this is called prong. Yeah, Sakupam, Cycad, or prong is the same thing, right? So it looks kind of like a little palm tree. It doesn't go very tall like this. It grow about this big. Oh, like usually it's about this big, right? And if you watch a lot of Jurassic Park type movie, dinosaurs, this is a plant in the backdrop. It looked very ancient. It looked very Jurassic, right? This have animal like, and in the middle of the whole thing, there is this thing called cone. So these one have different separate male and female, and the cone here is practically this is the same thing as a strobilus. Once again, is a strobilus. And this male cone is just basically it consists of micro. It's a stack of microsporophyll. So in this cone, if you divide them up, it looks kind of like this. With the sporangium underneath. So this part is microsporophyll. And underneath the microsporophyll, you have microsporangium. Oh, doesn't show up very well, sorry. So male cone is very similar to what we learned already. It's a strobilus, it's stack of sporophyll, but in this case it's only male. So male is smaller one, right? Micro. You have microsporophyll stacked to each other. Underneath microsporophyll, you have microsporangium. So it's just a stack of this. And this thing for male, it can get this big. You're gonna see the lab next week. It's huge. I'll be good with this one. Go zoom in a little more. So I'm gonna take one of these out, one of this thing out, and it look kind of like this. This is microsporophyll, so it look like kind of like this, like giant fingernails here. And you pluck one out, the microsporophyll, it look kind of like this. So this is one of those like finger thing. So the whole thing is microsporophyll, and then underneath is microsporangium. So if I do it sideways, it look kind of like this. This part is microsporophyll, and underneath you have the microsporangium. And what would be in the microsporangium? Microspore. So microsporophyll contain microsporangium. Inside microsporangium, you have microspore inside. So that's the male part in Sacadophyta. We great. So there's a male part. And the female look like this. Look very different. See, the male part look like picture and column here. The female cone looks very soft. It's like just a leaf coming out and sporangium on the side. So you have megasporophyll here. This part is megasporophyll. I'll draw it for you. And on the side with a little balls here of this is megasporangium. This is actually from the same plant. Same species, but male and female look different. on a separate plant of the same species. Yeah, male one place, female the other place, and they produce different type of cone. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, all the cycads they have separate male and female on separate plants. So each plant you either male or female, you can have both. So this is female plant produce megasporophyll and megasporangium. So this is what they look like, and they look quite different. And sometimes people mistake them for different species. They're actually the same species but different sex. All right, are we good with cycadophyte? Now we recognize the cycad. It looks like a palm in general. It looks kind of like a palm here, but there's a separate male and female plant. The male plant have this gigantic cone in the middle with this structure, and the female plant have this smaller, not so much like a cone. It's with the megasporophyll and megasporangium. That's it. All right. First group, easy. Actually, this is the second group already. And the third group is even easier. This group is called Ginkgophyta. There's only one species left in the world. Entire world have one species left. It's really sad, really lonely group. It's called Ginkgo biloba, or we just call them ginkgo. If you spend any time in Japan, this plant is everywhere in Japan. It's on the street. It turns yellow, and it have this characteristic fan shape. I think it's even on like a symbol of Japan or something. Like it's like all this ginkgo leaf everywhere, right? And they have the fan-shaped leaf, and the leaf in fascicle. This is in what they mean by fascicle. You can think of it as in the bundle, like you put them together in a cluster, in a bundle. It's called fascicle. The leaf always look like this. And the very characteristic part is that they have dichotomously branched veins. So the vein look like this, like branch twice every time. So you can see here, branch twice, branch twice. Very ancient looking, very symmetrical in a way. So if you the plant that look like this, fan-shaped leaf, dichotomous branch, Ginkgo biloba. One species left in the world, only one species in this division. Very lonely, there's only one. You cannot go wrong, it's only one. And the word biloba is actually has a you see this 1 and 2. 1, 2. This is called lobe. 1 lobe, 2 lobe, hence the name biloba. The loba means lobe, by 2, biloba. Ginkgo biloba. You sound very smart. You go to Japan next time, it's like, oh, Ginkgo biloba. Like, ooh, very smart people, right? You learn botany. I went to Kyoto 2 years ago, and it's like all the street, it's just like ginkgo, 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 ginkgo everywhere. So I never seen one. If you watch some series, Korean, Japan, you see the thing that turn bright yellow like this. This looks like a fruit, but it's not. This is seed. This is seed. It gets very smelly when it ripe. And you definitely I think you had ginkgo fruit at some point. So this is a random street in Korea and Japan. It looked like this. It turned yellow in the autumn because it lost leaf during the winter and come back as green. So, and you definitely have them as food before. In Thailand, we call them bak kwe. It's like look like little nuts, the yellow nuts that you put in your dessert. And we don't have any single tree of this plant in Thailand at all. This tree doesn't grow in tropical weather. It grows in temperate area. So all the ginkgo seed that we eat in Thailand are imported from China, 100%. Weird, right? but we eat them all the time, right? So these are English name is called maidenhair tree, but I think most people know them as ginkgo. And if you can go to 7-Eleven right now, it is like a milk. There's like ginkgo supplement. People believe that, and there's some scientific support for this, that ginkgo help improve your memory. So right before the general bonding exam, ginkgo. So supposedly it helps with your boosting your brain function. I don't know. You can try. So half your group don't eat ginkgo, the other half have ginkgo, and see the score. So don't do that, right? Like everyone have ginkgo, please, right? It tastes like nuts. It's a little more chewy. It's not as crunchy, but it's good. It's good. Yeah, and very small group. Like the whole division has just one species. Done. So this is very easy group. And the last group of gymnosperm is a huge group. It's called Pinophyta. And the word pino here come from pine. This is pine tree. Or you could think of Christmas tree. All the Christmas tree look kind of like this. In fact, actually, this is a fun fact. What people call Christmas tree are actually all different trees that look kind of like this. So all the tree in Pinophyta can serve as your Christmas tree. So the reason being, and the reason to do this, because when do we have Christmas? What month is Christmas? December, right? And December usually in Northern Hemisphere is winter, right? Snow and everything. And this is only tree that left green in the winter. So you walk around in the winter, it's really sad, really dry, no leaf at all, except for this tree. So like, oh, thank you for evergreen tree. It's actually not Christian at all. It's actually come from pagan tradition. You brought green tree back into the house to celebrate the winter. It's the only thing still alive in the winter. So it looked like all the Christmas-like tree is Pinophyta mostly. So they only have trachea, therefore the wood is really soft. So unlike, actually you can see this. Sorry for those on video. You can see all this wood, that like the separate layers. This is called plywood. It's made from this soft wood, like pine tree. They chop it up and then mix it with glue, and they compress them so they make really soft wood, really like bendy. So it's easy for construction. So you can bend them different shape, and this soft wood, almost all furniture in IKEA furniture store made from pine, because it's cheap and it's light and it's bendable. Unlike all these trees you see in Thailand here, mostly they're hardwood, the angiosperm. They're much tougher, they're stronger. Like this is plywood. But if you look at the old school table, like your grandmother's house, big giant table, those are hardwood. This is softwood, right? And this group look very nice, but they have very small leaves. So sometimes they have needle-like leaves, sometimes they have flat leaves, like very, very small leaf in bundle. So this is Pinophyta. I'm gonna walk you through some of the pictures you've probably seen. The pine trees look very tall, Christmassy. The pine, the conifer. I don't know, I put random languages here. If you have more languages to add, let me know. I have pine trees, and this one I love, I personally like this one. This is Araucaria, or English name is monkey puzzle. Why is puzzle? It's like, I think the story goes by of like, this is a plant that comes from New Zealand, and sometimes grow in like Madagascar, like coastal African country, and you put monkey at the bottom of this tree, like, okay, climb the tree. They're like, what? The monkey like, what? No, can't climb it. So this is really popular as a landscaping plant. They grow in golf course and big giant, rich people houses. It look very fancy because it's native to New Zealand, but it can grow anywhere in the world right now. You can see it everywhere. So Araucaria or monkey puzzle. And we have this one, Cupressus. In Thailand we call them Sonnyusaw, which means the pencil pine. Because you think, oh, it looks kind of like a pencil. It's actually no. The reason we call them pencil pine because the wood of this plant is used for making pencils. That's why the pencil you can do this. You can sharpen them because the wood is really soft. So all the not this pencil though, not Apple pencil, but like the regular normal pencil is made from Cupressus, the cypress. Very soft wood, really strong, straight timber. So if you're interested in agroforestry, like making like forest plantation, these are the plants you need to look for. They go really fast, really strong, not very strong, very tall, go really fast, make interesting timber. And this one is a bit more, well, its English name is really weird. Oriental Orbi vitae is grow as ornamental as well. Big trees, giant leaf, like make it nice looking leaf. But this one is also introduced to Thailand, not native. So we only have 2 species of pine, and that's about it. And so this is if you look at the pine tree, like you can see here, this is the leaf in the bundle, right? This is a needle leaf. So here, they have needle leaves in bundle. And again, just like in cycad, they have separate male and female plants. So male plant produce male cone, which is the same thing as male as a strobilus. And in this case, it's a stack of microsporophyll. So again, as usual, they are the sporophyll, right? Microsporophyll. And underneath that, you have microsporangium. Sorry, small print. Sporophyll and oh my god, my handwriting suck. Sporangium. Okay. So male cone is a fancy, is a more easier word for strobilus. It's a stack of microsporophyll put together, right, and the microsporangium on top of it. And if you play with pine trees at all, you use your finger to tap them, all the pollen came out, the yellow powder. And some people are allergic to them. If you're allergic to flower pollens, this is cause you allergy as well. So this is a male cone, and if you cut them lengthwise, this is what you see. You see microsporophyll here, microsporangia, and usually you should see microspore, right? But this is what happened. So in this case, the microspore, let me zoom in a little bit here. Microsporangium produce microspore, right? Which is one cell here, and they quickly do the cell division. They make 2 nucleus, and this become pollen grain. And pollen grain in pine have a little air bubble here, look like a little Mickey Mouse. This is called air sac. So the fact that they no longer one cell, the microspore divide really quickly into pollen grain. So this pollen grain, that's why they call it a separate name. And the pollen grain here would act as male gametophyte, because later on, the pollen grain will produce sperm, And therefore, you can think of pollen grain as male gametophyte. Because gametophyte is the one that produce sex cells, right? Pollen grain will later on produce sperm, and therefore you can think of pollen grain as male gametophyte. And in this case, you can see that gametophyte only have 2 cells. That's it. The gametophyte is super reduced, only have 2 cells. You come from mosses, right? The mosses, the whole plant of mosses are gametophyte. And this morning, the whole heart shape, the prothallus, are gametophyte. Now, for pie, only 2 cells. That's it. That's a gametophyte. And one of the cells will produce sperm. Okay? All right, hold on to that thought. We'll come back to this. So this is each pollen grain. Each one yellow dot is a pollen grain. And you zoom in, this is pollen grain of pie. So the actual pollen is here. So actual pollen is here. But they have this extra structure called air sac. It's like a balloon. Help the pollen float. Oh yes, I only answered this morning, right? What happened to the spore? They float. This is exactly what happened to the pie pollen. They have air sac, and like a balloon, they float. So the pollen fly, literally flying with their air sac. They're flying from the male plant to the female plant. And we'll see what happened after this, right? The pollen have the air sac help them float like a balloon and go find the female. This is a male part. So if I show this picture for the lab practical exam, like what kind of pollen is from? It's very characteristic, only found in pine, only in Pinophyta, no one else. Like it's very, like if you see the pollen like this, it's only one group that had this. Very, very, very unique. Okay, that's a male part. Let's switch to female. Like, oh, I see this before. It's on Christmas tree, right? People hang this on Christmas tree to sort of mimic the real pine tree, but we actually collect this from the real pine tree and put on a fake pine tree. Why? But this is a female cone. Again, cone is a fancy word for what? Is the strobilus, right? It's also a strobilus again, but in this case, it's a female strobilus. You have this as a sporophyll is megasporophyll, and on top of that, you have, I'm going to try to zoom in, megasporangium. So on the megasporophyll, you have megasporangium on top of it. And this case, it looks like a wood. It looks like a wooden leaf right here. This is each of these here is megasporophyll. So all of this is megasporophyll. Okay, just the same structure, it looks different. Okay, people, sometimes we write this down. So female cone is a simple term for female strobilus, which contain megasporophyll that contain megasporangium, right? So this wooden part of the cone, pie cone, is the megasporophyll. So far so good. Okay, so let's look at the long section of this pine cone here. So we have inside oval and megasporophyll. What part is megasporophyll? This whole thing here, the blue part, is megasporophyll. The blue part here is megasporophyll. And the oval here, use different color. Like, what is the oval, right? So the oval here, actually, there's a separate name, but it's actually act as a megasporangium. It acts as a megasporangium, and what happens in megasporangium usually? And megasporangium produce megaspore, and megaspore would germinate into female gametophyte. This all happened really quickly. So in oval, you contain this female gametophyte inside. And we'll zoom in to look at the female gametophyte on the next slide. So you can see that a lot of gametophyte in this group now is very, very, very small, very reduced. You barely see them with your naked eye. You have to use microscope to see them at the right time. They don't stay very long. Most of the time you see them is sporophyte. All right. So once again, the female cone is a stack of megasporophyll contain megasporangium, which is now we call oval. Inside the oval, they produce megaspore. Megaspore germinate into female gametophyte. Okay. Let's look at the oval here. There will be a permanent slide of this. So here, like out here, this is megasporangium. Sorry, megasporophyll. Or some people call them scale. And this whole thing here, all of this thing here, is the oval. So, but there are smaller structure inside the oval that we should take a look. So, this is called micropyle. This is where the sperm enter for pollen to enter. Like a door. This is like a doorway. And we have E, which is called nucellus, just a protected layer on the top, and we have eggs in the middle. We have two eggs actually here, and A is a female gametophyte. This is the one that actually produced the egg, and outside D is integument, is the protected layer. So why do we have to look at this so closely? What's so important? Like where, if you want to go find female, where would you go? A, B, C, D, E. How you enter the female house here? You have to go to the door, right? You're a nice person, you don't go to the window. You knock the door like, hello father, hello mother, I would like to date your daughter, please. Like, okay, come in. So you come to micropyle, right? The pollen, remember, this different color here. The pine pollen look like a Mickey Mouse with the air sacs here. The pollen would come here, lodge themselves here, and it's like, I would like to date your daughter, but plants can't move very well. So instead of the whole thing going in, they germinate the tube. To go to the female. This tube thing here, the tube that germinate into see the eggs, is called pollen tube. And it's short. Like doesn't look very short. You see in the angiosperm in the flowering plant, this tube will get a lot longer. So imagine yourself as a pine pollen. You're like, okay, I would like to date your daughter. Knock, knock, knock. Good morning. Is your daughter home? Is she available to get married and have baby with me? Yes, please come. 1, 2, 3. Hello, hello, my girlfriend. Let's get married, have baby. Short walk, right? Short walk from the door to the daughter. Let's have baby. Let's have family done. So in pine, the fertilization happened really quickly because the path from the door to the egg is really short. That's why they call them short pollen tubes. That's it. We just talk about pine sex right now. So let's review the whole cycle again. So this is male cone, right? This is male cone. The male cone is microsporophyll and microsporangium. Inside of this, they produce microspore, and microspore germinate into the pollen with 2 nucleus inside. Let's use the brighter color here. This is a male side. On the female side, this is a female cone, or your typical pine cone here. They have megasporangium inside, and inside they produce megaspore, but only one of them survive. The rest of them die, and this megaspore germinate into female gametophyte, and female gametophyte here finally produce egg. Here, this is egg, and one of these nucleus here become the sperm, and the sperm go fertilize with the egg here, and they make zygote and become embryo. This is the embryo part, and they go back into the sporophyte again. You can see that the gametophyte part is very, very small in this case. These 2 cells, these multiple cells here, they produce egg, egg meets sperm, go back to zygote, embryo, and go back to the full pine tree. So most of the time they are in the sporophyte mode, and very small structure are actually the gametophyte. So they still have alternation of generations, gametophyte, sporophyte, but very short amount of time as a gametophyte. All right, you see this again in your lab report next week on the life cycle, and keep come back to haunt you forever. Okay, this is pine life cycle, and after the fertilization, they produce this is seed. This is pine seed. This is actual seed, and pine seed also have wings, so they can float very far away. So this is pine seed. It looks like this, very characteristic. And what inside the seed? There's young plants here. This is the young embryo inside the seed, and you can see that there's no fruit to protect them, just the seed. The seed will fall out from the tree, and that's it. Let's use different color for embryo. Maybe go that's better. So sometimes you see this flying out from the pine tree like helicopter coming down. Really fun. There's some flowering plant do a similar thing, look very similar, but that's a fruit, not the seed. Okay, so that's Pinophyta. And of course we use pine for a lot of things, timber, for wood, furniture. Most of the furniture we use actually come from pine. And resin, if you cut the pine tree open, there's like this resin oozing out the pine tree. It's actually good for a lot of things. Some people would put them in medicine, some put them for music instrument and food. The seed for pine actually tastes very good. It make for your pesto, like for pasta. But pine nut is really expensive. It only come from one species of pine in the U.S. called pinyon pine. So all the pesto you have in Thailand are actually a fake pesto. It made from cashew nuts. But the very expensive one made from pine nut, the pine nut costs 1,000 baht a kilo. Expensive. Oh, of course, we have Christmas tree, right? And we use for decoration. So pines have a lot of uses. And then last but not least, this is the biggest division of all, or most of the plants you know in your entire life come from this division, Magnoliophyta. This is another term for this is angiosperm. And or we call this flowering plant. The plant with flowers. And most of them have vessels. So the big one, they have some of this trachea, but not a whole lot, right? They mostly vessel. That's why they make them hardwood. The wood is really hard. They have flowers, and because we have flower, the flower have ovary, and ovary will produce fruit. And have really weird sex. They have sex twice. Double fertilization. We'll talk about them a bit later. And contrast to the pine have short pollen tube. This guy have long pollen tube. We'll talk about this. And good news for you guys or not. There's a lot of detail about this. There's a lot of detail, and actually we dedicated 1/3 of this class to the structure of angiosperm. You learn with Ajahn Ponsawant, I think in October. You learn everything about angiosperm: root, stem, leaf, flower, fruit. Like each their own chapter. You're gonna learn to love or hate angiosperm. There's so much detail. You're gonna know too much about them. And I promise you, next time you walk around, it's like, oh, this is compound leaf, simple leaf, fruit, aggregate fruit, dry fruit, special fruit. Like, it's gonna go crazy. But not now, right? You just know that, oh, angiosperm, hi, angiosperm. It's good for now, right? We won't go into detail about that, but hang tight, because everything we learn from next week on is all about angiosperm. How photosynthesis, respiration, growth, development, root, stem, leaf, all about angiosperm. This is like angiosperm world. Unfortunately, I don't study angiosperm. I feel like blah blah boring. But anyhow, they're important. So let's talk about the part that make them different, which is the sex. So all the flower you see, all the things that make plant look beautiful, this is angiosperm. There are more than, I think, 100,000 species of angiosperm. In Thailand alone, we have 12,000 species of angiosperm, and we still discover a new one every day as we speak. So if you walk around, the poster on the hallway, there's new species of this and that. We still discover them every day, right? So what makes them different is they have this really weird sex. They have very greedy sex. And we'll talk about that more in the last chapter of this class, like way in October, right? So inside the flowers, I should draw a flower here. You have sepals, you have petal, and inside you have the female part here. This is called pistil. This is the female part. And the male part is called stamen. I won't test you on this quite yet. This is what we're going to test you in the final. Oh, my handwriting sucks. The red part is called stamen. So The blue and the red part is where we have sex. This is where the sex happening. So I'm going to talk about stamen and pistil separately. So this process, oh, whoa. So this process happened in stamen, which is the male part. So in the stamen, in the male part, you have pollen mother cell, which is diploid. It go through meiosis, right? Meiosis divide the cell from two end to one end, and this become the microspore. And just like in the pie, microspore doesn't stay very long. It go through mitosis again. It divided into two cells, one end each. One called tube nucleus and one called germinative nucleus, and this is now the pollen grain. This is what inside the stamen. So flowering plant, they come from one cell of pollen mother cell, go to meiosis, get 4 microspore. Each one microspore go to mitosis and give 2 cells, tube nucleus and germinative nucleus. And this is pollen grain, 2 cells. And because they have 2 cells, and one of which going to produce sperm, this pollen grain act as male gametophyte. Because one of these will produce sperm a bit later. That is male gametophyte. Okay. And we'll switch to female part, the pistil. Inside the pistil, the pistil is a female part. In the female part, we look inside the ovary. And in the ovary, you have ovule, right? This zoom in, the pink part here is the ovule. This ovule act as megasporangium. So from this megaspore mother cell, megaspore mother cells 2N, it go through meiosis. This become megaspore. But in most female, most megaspore die and keep only left one to like, I'm willing to give up my career, my money. It's like you have 4 sisters, right? Like 4 sisters, like, oh my God, you are the smartest one in the family. You go to school, okay? I give all your money, and I'll stay home. I'll die. You go to school. Do it for all of us, please. So just one megaspore, and this megaspore like, oh my God, my sister gave up so much for me. I have to do the best for them. So instead of doing just one mitosis, not just one, from one cell they become 2, from 2 they become 4, and 4 become 8. They make 8 cells, so much cells, and these 8 cells, one of which become eggs, and the rest of them become helper. And because I have egg cells and one of these become egg, this embryo sac act as a female gametophyte. They produce female sex cells. They are female gametophyte. Almost there, guys. Almost. They almost have sex. All right. When the male is ready, we have the pollen grain is ready to produce sperm, but not quite yet. And the female have an egg waiting in the flowers. Here come the sex scenes. Okay. All right. Let's do the sex part. Okay. The pollen would fly and land into the top of the female on the stigma. right? This on the top of pistil here is sigma, and they would germinate the pollen tube. But the female is all the way at the bottom of the flower. The micropyle is here. This is the micropyle, the door. Entrance to egg. And this is crazy. Remember in the pie, right? Knock, knock, knock. Good morning. I would like to have family with your daughter. Oh, please come. Hello, daughter. Let's have a baby together. Very quickly. No, in flowering plant, this is crazy. This is a race. Like you go to the door, right? Knock, knock, knock. I would like to see your daughter. Oh, well, you have 5 more other competitors. Actually, 5 more hundred competitors to see my daughter as well. Are you good? I'm good. Are you better than the 499 people waiting to see my daughter? Let's see. Let's the race begin, and open up the door, and everyone generate pollen tube. And like, and if you look at the actual flower, there's like 1,000 of pollen generate pollen tube at the same time. And whoever get to the female first win. Crazy. So, and actually, the good news is that in each flower you have more than 1 egg. You can go to multiple eggs. There's like a race. And inside that race, this is the pollen tube. Inside the pollen tube here, the generative nucleus. Why they're like, okay, guys, we're ready. Need to see the female. Go. And the tube nucleus just like, let's go see female. And the generative nucleus is like, okay, all right, the female's coming. Let's do this. And they divide up the cell into 2 male cells, or this is the sperm. So from 1 cell, they're like, okay, 2 cells. We need to see female. Let's go. 2 of us. Boom. So they go all the way in, like a really long pollen tube, right? Super long. Unlike the pie. It's like, imagine like you come from that entrance over there. Number 1 entrance. Like, where's the female? Oh, it's over there by Vipavadi entrance. What? So you take motorcycle. You finally arrive at the female, at the micropyle. So what happened here? Generative nucleus divided into 2 sperm, right? And 1 sperm see the eggs like, hello female, I would like to have baby with you. Of course, sure. But what? I bring a friend. What? I have a friend here. He's exactly like me. We look very handsome. Would you happen to have another friend we can have sex with? How dare you? Yes, I do. Here's my other friend. It's called polar nuclei. She have 2 ends. Would you like to have sex with her? Like, yes, please. And they both have sex at the same time in the same room. Oh my God. Crazy. This happens every day in plants. They have group sex. And one of them produce zygote, and the other one produce endosperm, 3N. And this thing is called double fertilization. This only happens in flowering plants. So next time you walk past the flowers, or somebody give you flowers, like group sex. Ew. It's literally group sex. I'm sorry. It's true. Plants are absurd, and you are dying because you're sleepy. All right. So this is what set plants separate from the flowering plants separate from the other plants. You have this weird, crazy double sex thingy. So this is double fertilization. So to sum up after all this crazy sex talk, I'm sorry. So we have seed plant, right? The one without flower, without fruit is called gymnosperm, right? If you have expanded leaf, like angiosperm, but no flower, you call gnetophyte. If you have fan shape, like a symbol of Japan, and the branchy vein, dichotomous branch vein, you have ginkgo, and you have stiff, like palm leaf, but no flower. Again, you have cycad, and you have needle leaf in fascicle with pine cone, then you have Pinophyta. If you have flowers and fruit, you are in Angiosperm group. You have flowers that would turn into the fruit. And you have Magnoliophyta. 5 different divisions. Once again, Gymnosperm, the embryo is protected inside the seed, but no fruit, right? But Angiosperm, you have seed, protect the embryo, but also outside the seed, you have fruit to also protect the seed inside. So only 5 divisions today, only. So far we only learned 1 division a day today because you guys are so great, right? 5 divisions a day. And that's it. This is the biggest amount of divisions we learn in this class. All right? So, let's review, let's summarize everything together. Okay? I'm gonna give you guys about 2 minutes and just like yes or no, right? So for example, like Gnetophyte have both vessel and trachea, and leaf type is expanded leaf. Just like normal, they have seed, they don't have flower, they don't have ovary. All right? I'll take 2 minutes, right? Just 2 minutes to fill out the rest of the table by yourself first, and we'll go to the answers together. All right, 2 minutes here. So how do I do timing? Timer. Let's do 2 minutes here. 2 minutes. Come on. All right, 2 minutes here. For those of you who watch at home, you can pause or not. It's really 2 minutes. Just yes and no for most columns except for the leaf type. What do the leaf look like? Or you can draw the picture if it helps. Expanded leaf for here. $50 seconds. Oh, time's up. We need more time? All right, give me 1 more minute here. Some of the answers might not be obvious from your slide, but we can go through them together. 15 seconds. All right, time's up. So, no. Okay. All right, let's go to the answer together. So, Cycadophyta, the cycad. The cycad, do they have vessels? No, right? So, the vessel only found in the angiosperm, the flowering plant, and except for Nitophyte. But they have, oh, frack. No. Come on, I don't want to start again. All right, fine, I'll start again. So, Nitophyta have vessel, have tracheid, have expanded leaf, look kind of like this, have seed but no flower, no fruit. But Cycadophyta don't have vessel, have tracheid, and the type of leaf is look like a stiff palm leaf, right? Like look like a palm leaf, stiff palm leaf. And do they have seed? Yes, right? Flower or fruit? No. You start to see that if there's no flower, it's no fruit. If you need a fruit, you need flower. Okay, ginkgo, only one species of ginkgo. Ginkgo have vessel? No. But they have tracheids, right? And the leaf is fan shaped. They have seed, right? And do they have flower or fruit? No. Pinot, let's write the common name down. The two pine. This is ginkgo. This is cycad. This is Nitum. Okay. Pine tree. Do pine tree have vessel? They saw food, so no vessel, right? But tracheid, yes. Leaf type is needle. They are needle leaf. Pine seed, yes, right? For pine nut. Flower or fruit? No. Finally, magnolia flowering plant. Right? Flowering plant definitely have vessel and tracheid, and some tracheid, not a lot. And the leaf.
So if we put it there, it would still be correct.
What's that?
If we put it there, it would still be correct.
Yes, yeah. Maybe like a small tick. A little tracheid, not too much. Like small tick.
Half of it, half.
Yeah, half tick, yeah. So yeah, like so expanded leaf, right? But in angiosperm, there's so many types of leaf. It's crazy. Some plant lost the leaf altogether, or some plant only have leaf left. It's crazy. But they definitely have seed, and because they're flowering plant, they have flower, and with flower, they have fruit. Not too bad, right? Can I put this on the exam? Hopefully, one of the answer you can get right on the exam is, what is your name? I have people who misspell their name. I was like, you misspell your name. Should I take the points out from that? Like, you don't even know your name. Like, please. So, I understand if you don't remember plant's name, that's normal. But you've been living your life for 18, 19 years, you should know your name, please. Okay? So, that's all the plant group we're gonna learn in this class. So the next part, you can sit back and I think I have one or two questions for the next part. Through plant evolution, I'm gonna walk you through 1.8 billion years history of plants. It's a long time, right? So we're gonna start with the questions that very easy to ask, but really difficult to answer. What are plants, actually? Actually, I asked this question for admission exam, right? For the student who want to get into botany, what are plants? They make their own food, right? They green, they make their own food because they have chloroplast. Yes, exactly that. And that's the simplest answer, but there's some exception. But in general, when we talk about plants, this is the formal term people use now. It's called viridiophyte. The word viridio means green. Green plant. So when we talk about plants, formal definition of viridiophyte, the things that have green pigment, is organisms with green pigment. Sound very, very odd, but it's very broad definition, and it includes a lot of things. Almost pretty much everything we already learned. So the pattern I'm showing here is the relationship in the evolution terms and how they relate to each other. So far we learned different groups, right? We haven't talked about how they relate to each other. So we're gonna put them together here. So this is 10,000 million years of history, and this is a group that we learned so far. And on each dot here that I'm gonna talk about, this is what we call share characters. You remember in each slide that I presented so far, there always that one slide that's share characters. This is the share character of each group. So we're gonna, and each group will like inside one another. It's like you have big company, each company have departments, and department have sub-departments, and the sub-department have teams, so like a smaller group as we go on. So we're gonna start from the oldest group, the biggest group, to the smaller, and smaller. And this is all the names. So this is all the names, and I'll go through them relatively quickly. I don't expect you to memorize all of this. Just like you can see where everything that we learned so far put together. Okay, so, and this is kind of cheap, self-promotional. If you're really interested in any of this stuff, the green part is the class that we offer in this department as a higher level. I'm teaching the morphology of non-vascular plant right now. So like if you're like, oh, I learned to know more about bryophyte, yes, we can do that in that class. So we have morphology vascular plant, we have fern class, like the whole semester of fern happening right now. And there's a class called Principle Taxonomy, which we learn 80 families of flowering plants. So much more memorization. If you're ever interested, you can let your program director know, and we can manage to offer some of this class. All right, so we start 1,000 million years ago, 1 billion years ago, plants start having chlorophyll B, and they store starch, right? And this is pretty much all the plant that we learned so far. So the green algae, the bryophyte, and everything else, except for the brown and the red, not included in this. So chlorophyll A and B only different by this X and Y thing. So these big molecules, and they are different by the wavelength that they can capture. And this thing we learned already, right? This is pyrenoi, and this is where you collect the starch. In this group of plants, you start to seeing pyrenoi on top of chloroplast as a place they can collect starches. So plant, before that, all the photosynthetic organisms, they photosynthesize, they make sugar, and they use them, they throw them away. Like, I'm done, go away, I'm done, go away. But in this group, like, oh, we have so much extra sugar, what do? We make them to starch and collect in the body. So we have starch for future time when we go hungry, we can use starch as a future source of food, right? So this is the innovation here. So this group, including all these algae, you see Chorophyceae, the wallbox, I love them, so cute, right? All these single cells, ova, like all of these are chorophyte. The green algae are this group, right? And then fast forward about now 470 million years ago. Anyone remember? No, nobody was born then. We start having this thing called phragmoplast. Like, what the hell? This is weird. So this group is streptophyte, and most of the algae, when they divide the cells, they have these microtubules. It's a part of skeleton of the cell. In most algae, the microtubule go the sideways along the line of the cell, but streptophyte, some algae, and the rest of the plant, they do the opposite. So when they divide the cell, they have this microtubule set up perpendicular. This is called phragmoplast. The other one called phycoplast. Odd structure. I don't know who discovered it. Crazy people, right? The microtubule go this way. And some of the algae that we learned in our class, like Chara and Spirogera, belong to this group. It's kind of advanced algae. It's like, I'm algae, but I'm not going to divide like you guys. I'm going to pretend like a normal plant thing. So it's like an algae that act like a plant. Weird, right? So this is green algae. Some of the green algae, streptophyte. And 20 million years later, very short, suddenly, you know what? I don't want to be in the water anymore. So this is when like the algae like go from the water to land. So I don't want to be algae anymore. I want to be on land. The land is so big, so much opportunity. So what happened? You move from water to land. What changed? Root, right? You suddenly become drier, right? So suddenly, like, you used to be like, imagine your Ariel from Little Mermaid. Look at this stuff. I look like this, and you like swim in the water, and all of a sudden you walk into the water. Oh, you walk out of the water. You need legs. You need skin become drier. You need all these things. You need cuticle. You need embryo. You need sporangium. You need capitangia. You need sporophyte to survive in a dry environment, right? So the land is drier, so all of this help survive. Dryness, because you're no longer in the water all the time. You need some way to get the water into your body, and this defining character is the fact that you start having the embryo. So we call this group embryophyte, plant with embryos. And all this big shift, like all this happened 450 million years ago. And all of a sudden you're like, I want to be on land. I need to make all this change for me to be on the land, to be on the drier place. There's no water surrounding me anymore. I have to survive there. That happened 450 million years ago. So, one of the first group that arrived 450 million years ago are bryophytes, right? You learned about moss, liverwort, hornwort already. And currently, this is their relationship. It's a little weird, but this is what we understand so far. It turns out hornwort looked the simplest one, maybe the closer to tracheophyte. Why? And the liverwort and mosses are closer together because if you remember, the liverwort, right? This is their gametophyte. For moss, this is their gametophyte. This is the gametophyte. The sporophyte of liverwort have this look. They have seta, they have the stalk. And same thing here with the mosses, they have seta. But hornwort, no seta. Just sporophyte, just sporangium. So they believe that these two groups share seta, the stalk, together. And hornwort are more similar to tracheophyte. This is still highly debated as we speak. Like, I went to the conference 5 years ago, people say something differently. So like people are still debating, are bryophyte related to one another or not, or whatnot. Like it's just like huge scandal, but not scandal, but like argument. So still unclear the relationship between them. Don't worry about it, I won't ask you on this. They just like updated knowledge. Or just to know that moss and liverwort are not together because they share seta, their stalk. And 30 million years later, they start developing vascular tissue, right? The water tube, the xylem, the tracheate, the vessel, and they start having tracheophyte, the vascular plant. And this is the oldest vascular plant you can see on Earth. Like, what part is a plant? If you're interested in this, there's people who study fossil plants. It's really weird. Like, they come from this. This is, they think is a plant. They come from this on the rock to this. I'm like, okay, that still not look like a plant. Like, how do you know it's a plant? Oh, look at this. This is a stem. This is the xylem. What? And from this, they go to this. So what you just saw is a cross section here. The plant being cut here. So this is the first plant look like. Just a stem and sporangia, done. Very simple, no leaf. This is what the first plant is supposed to look like. And this based on that rock. Well, you come from this rock to this. So I don't know what kind of thing they smoke. They're very imaginative. Like, so this, just the stem and sporangia. Very simple looking plant. So this, I think this is actually like one of the first plants we have recording in the fossils. So this is one of the oldest plants there. And in this group we have Lycophyte. We learn about Lycopodium stachynola. We have not talked about Isoetes, very small group, also happen in Thailand. And this group share one thing, right? They all have microphyll. They have like one like single vein and leaf. And then you start having megaphyll, which is leaf with branch. Therefore, you call this group Euphyllophyte. Eu mean true, phyll mean leaf. True leaf here is the megaphyll. They refer to megaphyll. This group now have megaphyll, including Modilophyte and the seed plant, the spermatophyte. This is seed plant. This happened about 400 million years ago. You can see that a lot of stuff happened about 400 million years ago. It's a lot, really BC 50 million years. Long time, right? So now we have megaphyll, which including Modilophyte and spermatophyte. And in this group, are we good? Can we move on? All right, in this group, again, microphyll and megaphyll, right? And in this group, we learn Xylotum, we learn about Equisetum, and this is most of the fern are in here. And these two groups, we did not talk about the Ophiogoraceae and Marichialis, that's a weird fern thing. But these two far away groups, the Xylotum and Equisetum, they're supposed to have megaphyll. Like the ancestor of the group have megaphyll. But the Xylotum and Equisetum, they have reduced leaf. They're like, you know what, leaf is so overrated, let's not use it too much. Just reduce it so heavily, you barely see the leaf here. And Xylotaceae have very reduced root system as well. The Xylotum have very small leaf. So I think some of you asked me earlier, like, how do you know it's megaphyll? Like, you can't see it. Like, of course you can't see it, but based on evolution, it's heavily reduced from megaphyll. So Modilophyte is a weird, interesting group here. And then finally, we have seed, right? Finally, the embryo doesn't just hanging out anymore. They are protected by the seed. And here, with angiosperm, right, you have flower. You have flower with ovary and petal and sepal, and the ovary part become the fruit that protect the seed, which also protect the embryo inside. So we have gymnosperm and angiosperm, which occur at 360 million years ago and 140 million years ago, respectively. And I taught this for so many years. I actually have this number in my head, which I guarantee you, I'm not going to ask you this number. It's totally unfair. Totally unfair, okay? Don't need to memorize these years. I memorize this because this is my research. I figure out when my group start. And for example, one of my Bryophyte groups started at 430 million years ago. and the other group start at 160. And so this is my area of research. I have this in here, which is totally unnecessary for you guys. All right, so let's look at this. So these are all the gymnosperm, and if you want to be famous in botany, you do the evolution of this group because nobody knows. It's weird. It's a weird group, and we don't really know who's related to whom at this point. So it's a crazy nightmare. And the group that I'm not talking about is this group here. This is called Welwitschia. This is supposedly the longest living plant. Each individual can live to 1,000 years. And it's found in desert of Namibia. It's huge, it's this big. Each leaf take 1 year to grow. And surprisingly, somehow we get the seed from this thing from Namibia in Thailand, and we can grow them, and they're alive. So we have this plant in Thailand now. You can go see them. We actually have, well, hopefully next week, if the plant's still alive. We have one plant in our nursery. I hope it's still alive. Hopefully by next week. But if you go to Ramanai Garden, Botanical Garden, this have seen this huge plant in the desert dome right there. It's huge. And it's the longest living plant, and it's the weirdest thing, it's a gymnosperm and nobody knows how they alive this long. They live to be thousands of years. So, and the relationship among this guy is crazy. So nobody knows. And angiosperm, the flowering plants, also a bit complicated. I think if you go to your high school or middle school, they talk about monocot and dicot very simplistically. So monocot, grasses, sugarcane, rices, or monocot, or orchids are monocot, and the rest are dicot. Life is not so simple anymore because when we study evolution, things go crazy. We have real angiosperm and then anitocrate, which is like water lily or lotus are not really flowering plant. They have flowers, but their flowers really weird. So the other group, which we won't talk about it too much, and just so you know that it's a bit more complicated with inside the angiosperm. There's a lot of crazy evolution happening. Just because they have flower doesn't mean they are similar to each other. They are very different. I can leave you with this, and that's the end of my lecture. That's it. Like, I want more. No, sorry guys, we can't have more.